Shlomo, thank you very much. I'm not sure that I'll give you an answer to the paradox, yet I'll try anyway. I'd like to thank the team members who actually now for the second year continue, and maybe it's also a potion for longevity. They accrued yet another year of experience, or to the many years of experience that they have within the American topic, and I thank them all. I'll give you a diagnosis, or maybe the punchline of the diagnosis. The relations remained solid, stable, but not without problems. Currently, a second opinion is very much in vogue. Spend the money. Everybody will tell you that's the situation. President Obama's visit was a very important milestone, yet it did not solve disputes that we have regarding two central issues discussed during the day. Number one, solving the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and secondly is the Iranian nuclear issue. In the previous conference, for those who participated and others, we made certain statements which remained valid to date. We continue the process of shifting the pivot or the rebalancing towards the Far East. The process taking place currently with North Korea is basically accentuating the rationale behind this shift versus the Far East. We also said that pressure will continue on the American budget, particularly concerning security budget and these conservative cutbacks that are going to impact the determination of the U.S. to enact powers or major powers for a long time. The third trend that we indicated, which is ongoing and will be further fortified, is that we see declining dependence on imported energy resources, including those from the Far East. In 2020, the U.S. will be exporting energy. On the other hand, the U.S. remains sensitive to the dependence of the allies, mainly Western Europe, and the oscillations concerning energy prices. The Mideastern reality of uprising, Arab Spring, call it what you may, is placing the United States in front of a dilemma. On the one hand, we see a democratic process. On the other hand, we see the ascent of regimes that ideologically reject the ideology, the way it's understood in the States, or don't come to grips with it. And the U.S. is also facing use of power in order to defend populations in the Middle East against totalitarian regimes. And despite everything I've said so far regarding the trends of the U.S., it is too early to pay eulogy to the position of the States. It is not abandoning the Middle East, regardless of everything that has been said concerning the trends. A general observation, a fifth observation, the level of support of Israel amongst American public opinion remained rather high, yet we have to relate to some warning lights. There is a certain withdrawal in support amongst the young generation, also amongst the liberal sector of the German population. Specific issues that we'd like to discuss, and the teams thought that they deserve attention within the relations at the leadership level. The leaders both failed if they tried to get rid of each other, and some may claim that they did. They drew the operative conclusions deriving from this failure. President Obama's visit a month ago had a major importance in improving the relations. It was important also beyond the personal dimension. It's important to continue nurturing relations, interpersonal relations between the leaders. Don't expect warmth and love within this relationship. About personal relations, let me add, in the two political systems, there are new position holders here and there, and there's importance in devising or nurturing close personal relations as much as possible. It has been done to a very large extent. Thanks to Hagel's visit in recent hours, we can see the proof thereof. A very important observation is the split within the Israeli government between those who carry positions relating to the United States and is not going to benefit the relations. We recognize some order in this array between the ministers before causing damage. I'm moving on now to the Palestinian issue with regard to the Israeli-American relationship. The declarations of the President of Secretary of State are indicating the determination of the administration to remain actively involved in the political process between Israel and the Palestinians, at least for the foreseeable future. We believe the administration is going to act in the following lanes. Number one, immediate solutions for Palestinian daily life. Please notice the speech of the President that was rather emotional about it in Binyan Omar. The U.S. will act to improve immediately daily life in the economic realm. Yesterday in Brussels, the American Secretary of State Kerry spoke about the economic diplomacy. He's already speaking about it, or spoke about speaking with President of Coca-Cola to start activity not only on the part of Coca-Cola, I hope something healthier, in addition, in order to improve economically this segment. And this is not a circumventing pathway. It should complement political negotiations. I believe that the Israeli government has understood it and began already taking measures in that direction. The second pathway is the political. As we all understand, Kerry will devote the coming months, at least until the holy summer holiday, to see what's the possible platform for negotiations. Currently, the U.S. is speaking about negotiations. I believe, or it's the opinion of the team, emphasis shall be put on finding solutions to the security elements as Israel and the United States envisage it, and the position is not identical. Israel will find itself facing a dilemma to what extent it's willing to let the U.S. share with introducing a detailed map of security demands and the security map. And this might bring about a different American and Israeli position or a design of the security map, although we don't think that Israel can evade it. I'm also proposing the possibility raised during the previous session. I'm expressing my opinion, which is contradicting, but it's quite possible that the United States and Israel will meet in a unilateral Israeli lane or track discussed previously in the previous session, based on American experience, to find a partner, a Palestinian unilateral partner, that is to say, two unilateral steps, well coordinated in as much as possible. The settlements are not yet removed from the agenda. The public reproach of Obama versus Abu Mazen should be perceived in Israel as a change policy. The understanding of the team and the majority will agree is that we should refrain during the coming months to take measures that might be interpreted in Washington as provocation intended to impede the American attempt to renew the political process. Iranian issue was discussed at length. I relate only to the Israeli-American realm. Americans are acting between two lines of policy. One, guided by the wish to refrain from military action that might drag the U.S. into a military combat once extricated from Iraq, Afghanistan, and is actually withdrawing now from Afghanistan. And this is guiding the U.S. to act in a political pathway with sanctions. On the other hand, we can see a recurring use of code words. All options are on the table, and the containment is an option. There's a gap in this realm between Israel's and America's positions in the definition of the target. The U.S. is speaking about preventing a nuclear arsenal. Israel is speaking about the ability, preventing the ability to enact such arsenal. What's the meaning of the decision? Who makes it once political efforts fail? And obviously we have the third issue: who is attacking, when and what should be attacked. In the American aspect, Israel must create a space for agreement, zone of agreement, encompassing as much as possible the topics are in dispute, in particular timing of the decision of failed endeavors. Thanks to this space of agreement, Israel must reach a situation whereby there's no bad agreement or adverse agreement. Agreement yes, but not adverse, leaving Israel in a position of inferiority whereby it has to choose the option or the military option. An adverse or worst case, as far as we believe, is an ongoing attrition. We have to keep the visibility of Israeli military reliable option. And last point, we should assist in creating a base of support in the United States of the President should he decide that he wants to enact the military option. The regional theater, it's very important, we believe, to enhance dialogue with the U.S. concerning relevant topics as to what happens in the Arab world. They can include reactions to the demise of regimes in neighboring countries considered part of the American camp, the infiltration of further terrorist elements, non-conventional arms in terrorist elements, in hands of terrorist elements. On the other hand, positive agenda such as economic cooperation, energy in the Middle East, on the Eastern Mediterranean, water, and other topics. Turkey, the rift between Israel and Turkey has need patch, regardless of the apology, and I'm doubtful regarding a possible improvement. If the United States wants to defreeze and it's gonna invest, it should continue the endeavor of removing at least the former dispute between the two states, Turkey and Israel. It's quite possible that it might include Israeli concessions concerning Gaza, for instance. The budgetary difficulties will compel Israel to prioritize projects in items whereby it would like to prevent cutbacks. This is what we call the untouchables. Don't touch these with regard to projects or certain kinds of weapons. It can be a catalyst for Israel to observe itself and its long-term equipment programs versus what seems long-term, the renewed memo of defense in 2017. It's important to fortify the image of Israel as a strategic asset. There's a debate, it's not very vociferous, whether Israel is an asset or a burden, and there are ways to do it, offering also ideas to the administration and other elements with corporations in realms that are deemed important by the United States, cyber, electronics, etc. Public opinion, Israel, United States, very important. The visit to Israel improved image amongst public opinion, both in Israel and the U.S. concerning the president, helping him in the Jewish community that doubted his commitment versus Israel. The very low support among the American public is among the Democrats in Israel, young generation, and those who don't religiously are affiliated. Obama has an advantage in that regard. It's very important to leverage the messages that he gave in Israel, the support of the affinity Jewish people Israel, support of Zionism via the paying visit to the Herzl tomb, and the cooperation between the two states concerning security. I would not really embrace the terrible event in Boston as a long-term booster for support in Israel. I'm just about to wind up a few seconds. On the other hand, I wouldn't be over-emotional because of the comparison made yesterday by Kerry between what happened at Amambara in Boston. And lastly, with regard to relationship, there's a lot of talk about the formalization of the relationship. You know, there are members of understanding, ministries. All these are not part and parcel of the American law. And as much as some want to anchor it, we have to speak about legislation if it is important. We in the Institute will actually carry out the analysis, introducing our findings in the next conference, and we'll proposing you to make haste and purchase tickets.